and we'll get this all started. It is August 22nd, and I'm pumped for our guest speaker tonight. I really only have two announcements, but first off, if we have any new coaches on here, I just want to say welcome, new coaches. We have these calls every Monday, sometimes Tuesday nights, and basically it's just a time for us to get together, get some FaceTime. Even though this is virtual, like we want to get to know each other. So talk in the chat section, unmute yourself if you want to. And then a lot of us I know are doing coach sneak peeks. Some of us are doing it Wednesday night, Thursday night with our team cup. If you're not doing it at all, like let me know. My coach sneak peek is Wednesday night. You're happy to join. I know it's a busy week. Like my kids all start school tomorrow. I know a lot of kids start school later this week or next week. But like this is a very, at least for me, like as a teacher, this was a time where I needed to see my coach talking about this opportunity. So don't ever think like, oh, it's just not good timing. It's just not this. Like now is a great time. And then the last thing I wanted to say is I don't think we've announced it in the team page, but next week we are doing a back to school flash sale. But so there'll be a lot more details about that. So that is great for those maybe who haven't locked in Success Club yet. Or maybe you have locked in Success Club and you're rocking it this month, and it might give you a head start into September. It'll be like August 31st, September 1st timeline. So you can kind of pick and choose like, hey, I need to lock in Success Club, hustle on the 31st, or it's like, hey, I'll push these orders until the 1st to get the September Success Club rolling. So lots more information will be coming out over the packages, price details, and all that stuff. But I am excited for our guest speaker tonight, Jessica. I know a lot. Majority of our team are full-time working women. Even though I personally am not currently now, something that I want to always make sure you guys have are people that you can look up to that have paved the path ahead to show you like this is doable even if you're working full time. And Jessica, just to give you a little background, she's a mama of 3. She lives in New York. She just celebrated her 8th coaching anniversary. So congrats, Jessica. That's awesome. I'm just about right behind you. I'll celebrate my 6th coaching anniversary in a couple of weeks, which is, I'm sure it's the same for you. It's like, what? That's not even real. But she's 1 time elite, 2 times premier, and she works full time in the corporate finance at ADP. So I am super excited to learn alongside of you guys tonight. I think it's just super important that we always are branching out outside our team, even though we share so much good stuff within each other. But like hearing from ladies from other teams who are doing the dang thing while in the trenches of motherhood and working full time. So I encourage you to take notes, find 1 or 2 things that you can go implement tomorrow. Like I know she's going to have like things we've never heard before, or maybe she's going to say things in a different way, but whatever it is, make this call useful to your time and your business and take action from it. So I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to let you take it away, Jessica.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Brooke. Thank you for inviting me, give me the opportunity to speak to your team on the topic that is near and dear to my heart because it is possible to work this business while working a full-time job. So just again, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to go through my story and then just give you guys a couple of tangible things that I'm doing just that you can actually take away. So I hope to motivate you a little bit, inspire you, and encourage you that if you're working full-time, which I know I think that's kind of like the new wave of coaches. Like, yes, it's always great. And I think it's amazing that people are leaving their full-time job and coaching, but there is another opportunity to be very successful, to earn a full-time passive income while also staying at your corporate job if that's your prerogative. So just want to go through my story. So I actually started coaching as a full-time stay-at-home mom. So I know you have some stay-at-home moms. I know you have some moms that are working. So I've kind of seen it from both perspectives. So I'm going to go start there. So I started coaching 8 years ago. Like Brooke mentioned, I do have 3 children. Right now, they're 10, 8, and 6. When I started, I only had 2 children, and my youngest daughter was 6 months old when I started. And, I was postpartum. I was not feeling great about myself. It was really hard for me staying at home because I was working in full-time corporate America. And then we moved to New York from Connecticut. I didn't know anybody. I always say I felt like I was on Mom Island. Mix in all the postpartum feeling no confidence, didn't know really anybody. So I had no mom friends. I just felt very alone, and it was a really hard time in my life. And I always laugh because I was one of those people that was invited to try these workouts so many times, more than 10 times. And I would be invited on social media, and I would say, I'm never doing that. I'm a gym girl. I'll never do that. I'm actually also a NASM certified personal trainer. And I got certified around the time my daughter was right. I started before she was born. And then, so I was thinking about personal training on the side. So I've always loved fitness. And I'd be like, I was a hater. So if you have people out there that are personal trainers and tell you no all the time because they're good, like keep asking, inviting those people, because I was that. So I'd be like, I am definitely not doing that workout. But then what I found was it was impossible for me to get 2 kids to the gym. It was, I mean, the ordeal to get them packed up. They were 2 and a newborn. Get them packed up, all their stuff, get them in the car, drive 20 minutes, drop them off at the daycare, have 1 or 2 of them crying, the daycare calling me over the intercom that someone pooped and I had to go change. It was just like stupid, right? And then I remember I saw the T25 infomercial. I'm really going to date myself with this part of the story. Well, most of you are probably like, what? Like there wasn't share cart. I called the 1-800 number and I bought T25 and Shakeology on a payment plan. Like that was an option. So I didn't pay for it all at once. I did it on a payment plan. And when the person on the phone was like, oh, you're going to be assigned a coach. And I was like, oh no, like I don't need a coach. I'm good. I'm a personal trainer. I got this, right? Like I was just so ignorant and I had no idea. So I started doing T25. I could not believe that my 3-hour gym ordeal was whittled down to like 35, 40 minutes, just getting my baby in the swing. I would press play, maybe press pause a couple times to tend to her, but really getting it done. And I felt good. I was seeing results. I was drinking Shakeology and I couldn't believe it was working. So I was bought in for myself and doing the programs, but I wasn't coaching it. And then I had somebody inviting me to coaching again 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And I'm like, oh no, I will never ever do that. I'm a personal trainer. I train people in the gym. That's what I like to do. That's what I'm good at. I want that face time. And then I started slowly realizing that I was a mom of 2. Then I got pregnant with my 3rd. And I was like, there's no way I could be in this gym the hours that they want me to be here and actually make money when I'm giving a majority of it back to the gym. And so I wasn't making any money. I was spending a lot of time at this small gym. And I was like, I could be doing something better. And my light bulb moment for coaching was when I was training my client, Victoria. And I said, Victoria, on the days you're not in the gym, what do you do? Because obviously one day a week isn't going to cut it, right? And she's like, well, I actually, because I have young boys, I do, what did she say? I do 21 Day Fix and Insanity, those DVDs. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that's when it hit me. I was like, I am missing the boat on a huge opportunity to be able to help women like Victoria who live all over, right? Like at my gym, it was a 10, maybe a 15-mile radius around my gym of people I could help. If I transitioned and maybe did a couple of clients in person, but then built an online business where I can help people living in California and making money and really doing it whenever I could based around my children's schedules, I was like, I need to do this. So I swallowed my pride after saying I would never do this. And I slowly fell in love with the Beachbody coaching opportunity. I've done it ever since, and I absolutely love it. Now, like Brooke said, went on and, I hit Premier twice and I hit Elite. But during that time, we had some shifts in my family where my husband was majoritarily working, and then some things changed and I had the opportunity to go back to my company I worked at. And because we needed benefits, I was like, you know what? The kids are all in school now. Let me go and do this while I'm still coaching, right? So now it's like a whole different kind of shift. The kids are all at school. And I'm back into the corporate world, which I work in corporate finance, which is super exciting, right? Like I always say, I'm like 80 feet, like I do enjoy it. Like I love the people I work with, but Beachbody is where my passion lies. And I am able to make it work. So does anybody have any questions so far before I go through? Okay. So just a couple of things of like how I'm building a team and building to these benchmarks and able to earn a certain income that I have while doing this very, very part-time, right? Like guess I could say I can't even ever say I was a full-time coach. Even when I was a stay-at-home mom, like I worked very part-time hours because my kids were babies and it was really hard. So I would do it in like mom pockets of time throughout my day, but I could never say that I was a full-time coach, even now. But even so, I've been able to slowly, right? Like I've been doing this 8 years. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. We don't all have to be on the same timetable. I know sometimes we see this coach who starts and they kind of like go like this and they're like, oh, I quit my teaching job in 13 months. And, that is possible, but it doesn't have to be everybody's reality. So I want to also remind you of that you're on your own timeline. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Kind of like put the tunnel vision on, have your goals. And just because someone's doing it quicker than you doesn't mean you're failing. So we have to always keep that in mind. But some of the things that I do to make this work, because it is a lot, right? My kids are at the age now where they're in a million sports. I also did mention I'm also a youth cheerleading coach as of tonight. That started tonight. Like everyone's like, we have football, we have cheerleading, we have dance, like just a million things, right? I'm at that age now where I'm really in the thick of that. So trying to balance all of the things. And the number one thing I will say is prioritizing my time and consistency. I'm going to put those two things together. So I really have to make sure I protect and prioritize my time and making sure that I'm scheduling in the time to do the vital behaviors and the things I know I need to do to move my business forward. So I don't get super fancy with graphics or creating amazing social media posts. Like I make sure I show up on my stories, I post to my feed, I'm sharing what I'm doing, and I'm obviously doing my workouts, drinking my Shakeology, doing my personal development. But prioritizing that time. And for me, what works is my team, we've started a 5:30 a.m. Eastern time action hour. So we do, it'll probably move to 5 once the kids are at school, which another half an hour earlier, but we all get on, we play an action hour. There's so many to choose from in Beachbody Champions that you can go. It's the easiest thing in the world. Get a cup of coffee or you're energized and just listen and do what they say. And I find that when I do it at that time, I'm most focused early in the morning because there's no distractions, right? There's no email. My email's not going off from work. I don't have people text me and call me because the whole world is sleeping except for me, right? Who's up working at that time. But I do have coaches doing it with me, which that does help. So maybe there's a group of you that want to do it. Maybe your team cup team, the new coaches want to get together, whatever it is. But we get on, we all watch the same action hour and we do our invites. So that part is a non-negotiable for me. So I wake up, I make my coffee, I read my 10 minutes of my book. Then I get on the action hour and I do that. Once that's complete and I know I have my invites done for the day, right? I'm always include inviting, like it's a non-negotiable. And then after I'm done with that, we hop in, we have a workout Zoom. We like to do things together, get our workout done. And I find if I can get those things done, right? So now we're at about 7:15, 7:30. I'm done with pretty much everything I have to do with coaching. And then throughout the day, I'm responding to messages when I can and sprinkling in different stories. So that's my biggest tip. And sometimes because I'm so busy, I do have to make sacrifices. So that's something else to keep in mind. Like I don't really watch TV, like I have no time. Sometimes I do, but I'm not like binging television shows, right? I do have to get up early and do that consistently because it's really the only quiet time in my house that I know I can get it done. So it might mean a little less sleep. But I have such a strong why of why I want this business to work and that I believe in. So I get up early and I do it. It works for me. It doesn't mean that you have to get up early, but you do have to set a time to do the things, to do all the vital behaviors. And if you're doing them consistently every day, this business will work for you. If you work this business, I just said on my team call, this business will work for you. And I'm proof of it, even if you're doing it very, very part-time. And then how I find I attract and build working coaches on my team is I talk about coaching a lot, right? In my stories, I talk about it in my posts. I'm talking about how because when I actually went through like this challenge for myself when I first went back to work. So I was really just a stay-at-home mom and coaching, and then being a corporate working mom and coaching. And I had a hard time talking about both. I felt like very conflicted, but now I'm just like very honest. And I like once a week, I try to do like a day in the life, like what I do. So I just show like, I wake up, I show making my coffee or having my coffee while reading. And then I show when I'm on my action hour. Then I post a couple workout clips. Then maybe I pop in and like say how now I said it the other day, now I have to like transition into finance mode, right? Like get the kids off doing what they have to do, get them some breakfast, shower, and then I'm like corporate Jess, right? For however long. Now, I actually do work from home, so I know that does make it a little bit different, but I have a ton of teachers that are on my team. Actually, everyone on my team is a working mom, pretty much everybody. So everyone's working and coaching part-time. And we just find different times throughout the day, whether it be during lunch to respond to messages, or maybe pop in and say something, or maybe share a quote from my personal development. But then explaining how that's part of coaching, right? Always like weaving coaching in throughout how I do it part-time. You know, on Monday nights, I have my team call every single week. So getting on my stories and saying, it's a Monday night. My team name is Team Fit Dynasty. It's our Team Fit Dynasty team call. We're getting on. We're going to be talking about this. This is why I teach my coaches. I absolutely love getting that FaceTime and working with them. And, you know, it's just, I love my team. Like talking about something with coaching. Because if you're not talking about it, no one knows. Like tonight, if we get off and we all post this screenshot of the Zoom call, no one knows unless you're a coach of what this is, right? No one has any clue. So it's important if you are, you know, we're showing we're coaching, but then maybe you're not ready to talk on camera yet if you're a newer coach. Put like a little blurb about what this was. Like we had a guest speaker, I learned X. Or if you want to take it to the next step, turn the camera around, which I can't recommend enough because that's when my business really took off. I was super awkward at first, but I got better. And just talk about what this was. Like, hey, I'm a coach. I'm proud of it. This was our team call. We do it every single week. My coach Brooke has these speakers come on and teaches us something different. Like tonight I learned X, like share one thing. And that's really how I try to do it, is just constantly things that we seem obvious, talk through and what it means, and saying like, this is what it means to be a coach on my team. These are the things that we do. Right. And this is why it's important, and helping people understand, because then when we're inviting to coaching, they know what we do already to an extent. Right. And it won't be, I think it's less weird when we're going and inviting to coaching if they're not a challenger first, because you know they've been watching your stuff, right? You know they're liking our posts, they're watching our stories every single day. So if we go to ask them about coaching, they won't really think it's in left field, because I know they've been watching me every single day for a month or whatever. And then what else did I do? But yeah, I think it's just important to kind of like, also this one thing, the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll open it up to questions, is also showing the hard and the that we're not perfect. Because sometimes I'll have people say, oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it all. You're perfect, this and that. And now I've been really trying, when I'm like, you know, I'm barely getting by in that work day, like kind of taking in a second and being like, I was supposed to work out at 7:30 or 6:30 this morning. I hit snooze. I didn't make it, but I'm going to get it in later. Like showing people that we're not always perfect, that like one day I was working, my hair was a mess. Like I turned the camera on, which I really don't, I try not to do that, but I did. And I was like, this is me right now. I'm trying to get through my work emails. At the end of the day, I have chicken cooking in the air fryer. I have to get my sons to football practice. I didn't shower yet today, like just to show people like I'm human, and it's not easy, but I'm trying to prioritize the things that I need to do to move my business forward, because I have a strong why in what I want to do. So a couple of things I want you guys to take away is you absolutely need to define your why and understand what that is, because people are they're not buying Beachbody on Demand. They are buying you. They're buying your, like what you believe in and what you bring, because there's so many of us as coaches, right? They're going to buy from you for a reason. And we have to remember that, and we have to talk about it and show people that. And the second thing is we have to decide that we're going to treat this like a business, right? If we treat it like a business, it will pay us like a business. And until I made that decision, I always kind of floundered, and I was very, very inconsistent. I would hit Success Club, like in the beginning, hit Success Club 6, hit 0. Then I would be like, oh, I'm going to do 2. Then I would do 12, and then I would do nothing. Like I was so like this until I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set my goals higher, like 3 people at the very minimum, right? That's a given. If you're doing this and you're on this call, 3 people at the very minimum. It should be more than that. We are better than that. And I decided, I'm like, I can do this. I I've seen so many people, and if they can do it, I know that I can do it too. And just kind of I got over myself and realized that I just needed to put in the work, and then the consistency of doing the actionable items, doing the vital behaviors every single day, making sure I'm showing up for myself, for my team. So myself doing my workouts, showing up for my team, like doing those group action hours and the Zoom workouts and things like that in our team calls, but just continuing to invite people. Like really, that's it. Like if you have no other time, do your personal development. That's probably the most important thing, and invite. Those, like I couldn't recommend, those are the things those are gonna move your business forward. Everything else, if you don't get it done every day, it's not the end of the world, but if you don't invite, no one's going to join you. I was just saying this, I've had very few people come to me dying to be a coach on my team. I had to invite them once, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Like me, when I was a hater, took me way more than that. So hang in there, guys. If you are working and you want to make this business work, you absolutely can. You just need to carve out that time and be consistent, and you can definitely do it. So does anybody have any questions? I'm going to look at the chat.
I can go first. And feel free to unmute yourself, ladies, or just drop them in the chat for Jessica. But I feel like sometimes girls will come to me and just be like, so how do I like talk about coaching with with it not being like weird for coworkers or like making my job people feel can't talk at 8:30.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say, because I work in corporate finance, and like the problem is when people have your cell phone number, you pop up as a requested person to them. So because I work with people all over the country, I don't have like a very small team. I have I support like 50 something salespeople, their bosses, like it's extensive. So because they all have my cell phone number, I can pop up as a requested person on Instagram. Obviously my profile is public, like I'm not gonna, so I don't know if they're actually following me or not, but they'll be like, they like make comments about my reels all the time. And I'm like, I had to get over it, right? Because I was like, oh my gosh, what if they, but I'm like, you know what? They know that I do this. I made it very clear that, and they don't care as long as I do my job and get what I have to get done. Like I try not to post during those times. Like I do post in the morning or at lunch or after work hours, just to, like, they've never said anything to me, but just in case, I just want to make sure they're not like, Jess is posted all day on Instagram while she's supposed to be like on the clock. But that's a mindset thing. Like we can't care what other people think. No one else is paying our bills. They're gonna laugh. Like people are gonna tease me, but I just like, well, sorry you didn't like my dance on Instagram, my reel, but it is what it is. And like I have fun doing it, and this is like my passion project, and I just stopped caring what other people think because they're just gonna talk anyway. So that kind of answer that question or go through that. It is hard. It's hard to get over it at first.
No, that makes sense. And I also had a question, like, how do you have any like monthly system between like running your challenge groups and a coach sneak peek? Like, is there like, hey, we do this the first week of the month, this the second week, or there's like, I don't know, any systems?
Yeah.
I know a lot of your team is full-time working.
So we actually do a lot together. So we run our like a challenge group together, and then we split up the coaching responsibilities. So like I post every Mondays, and then everybody has a day of what they're posting. And then that's like the set post that obviously we post throughout the week, kind of if we think of something. But running them together, we have so many more people. The people are more engaged. It's just better to run it that way. I've done them myself. I've done it a lot of different ways, but this seems to be really working well. So maybe it's not a large group of people, but if you buddy up with one coach to kind of share the responsibility, because a lot of, like I said, are working, doing things, have the kids. So it takes the pressure off, I think, to have to do it all and run a group from start to finish, which can be overwhelming if you're doing it all on your own and you have other responsibilities. So we do group up. So right now we have our Lift More challenge group. We do a team calendar, and I got on the phone with my leaders, and we mapped out the whole year through Summit and said, this is the program we're doing now. We're going to have like a couple weeks break. We're going to go to Andrea Rogers' program. Then we're going to do in November, we're going to do like different body workouts that people can choose from. Then we're going to go into Megan's program, and that's how we do it. And we work together and figure out the prep week, and we have one team calendar. And then I do my sneak peek. I do calls, and I tried doing like 3-day groups for me, calls work the best, and we have themes, and we do it the last Tuesday of every month. And we invite specifically to, like, for example, we're going to do a personal, this one coming up, we're doing a back to school / teachers coaching sneak peek, talking about how teachers balance coaching and going back to school and how they do it. Also for moms that are getting their kids back off to school and are thinking about coaching. So that's the theme. So the idea is, obviously we record them. So then if we're talking to a teacher who's interested in coaching, we'll be like, hey, watch this call that we had. Once you're done watching it, let me know and I'll get on the phone with you. I can't tell you how much time this has saved me, because we want to make sure we're protecting our time. I used to sit on the phone for hours with people talking about coaching, but now I know if they're not willing to watch a 30-minute video about coaching, or 20 minutes or whatever it is, they're never going to do it, right? It's like, so knowing, like, hey, this was great. We heard from several different teachers on our team. I want you to watch it. As soon as you're done, let me know. We're going to get on the phone and we're going to talk through all your questions and talk all about coaching and get you signed up if you decide to do it. And it's worked so much better for me, because then I know they're showing initiative and they're watching the video and that they're actually interested in working the business versus me like begging them to become a coach or preferred customer. So that has really worked. So we're doing the teaching one / back to school. We're going to do a personal training one. We're going to do a corporate working one. We're going to do, like, get very, very specific. I actually have, weirdly lately, I had like 4 different people who are accountants who want to talk about coaching. So we're going to do one for CPAs, and then we'll have them archived. So if someone's ever talking to a trainer or something, we have calls that are newer and more relevant to send to them. So that's worked really well for us.
That's a really cool idea. With those calls, do you have any, like, obviously you make them kind of more directed towards teachers, but do you have like, hey, we always cover this, this, and this in those coach calls?
Well, it kind of depends. We usually have an agenda dependent on what it is. Like, for example, for the teacher one, we'll have like several of our teachers speak and just give like a quick, like, if they have like 5-minute increments and they just go through and talk about their story very briefly, obviously. And then like, maybe we'll overcome an objection that we hear a lot. Like, I have no time. I'm a teacher. I have no time. And like why they are able to make it work. Or one of my coaches, she always tells a story, and I think she's a 1-star going for 2-star diamond. She teaches 5th grade. And she was like, I used to have to tutor all the time to make all this extra money. And now I don't have to do that anymore. She's like, that enough. Like, I have more time with my family. I'm doing something I really enjoy, and I'm making more than I was tutoring now at this point. But that, like, sharing stories like that. So we try to kind of like put in a couple of things about that. I don't get like crazy about like income or anything. I talk about the community events, retreats we have, things like that, but they're all a little bit different.
Cool. Okay, what other questions for Jessica do you guys have? This is awesome stuff.
I'm just looking through here. Oh. Yes, it is a new way of coaching and people working. And I think for me, like, after going through the pandemic, I felt like I didn't know if my corporate job was safe or not, right? Like, we all kind of went through that feeling where like, am I going to get laid off? Like, it could happen. So it's kind of nice having that peace of mind that not all of my eggs are in one basket, right? And that I could earn like this significant passive income doing this, even though it did take me longer to build it and I built it slowly. No. Are you guys still there?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. My computer like went black for a second. That was so weird. I can't see anyone anymore. So weird. Where did everyone go? Hold on, let me pull this back up here. I don't know what happened. All right, but what was I saying? If you can still see me, that's fine.
COVID and
so knowing that, it was nice to be able to have 2 different sources of income and to kind of feel that security. And I think it is a good thing to have 2 things I love. And maybe one day I will give up my corporate job, which, maybe it won't be in a year, but in a couple of years, that's an option that I will have, and I'll gladly do it. But I like it right now. I like working both things. I really like the people I work with. So it's a good balance.
Awesome. Well, if you don't follow Jessica, you should, because clearly she's talking about coaching while working this. And I know that can be like a weird like, how do I do that? Like, what's my why with this? What if I don't want to leave my corporate job? What if I do? But I always just think you don't want to go out and like mass follow other coaches, but like find a coach that is like doing the things you're doing and just kind of learn from them, watch them. I know I do the same thing with like stay-at-home moms of like 4 or 5 kids. I'm like, how do you even talk about this? So I think thank you just for being such a light for so many of the ladies on our team. I have one last question if anyone doesn't have any ones.
Sure.
Oh, PD. If you have, I guess, like top 3 PD books or like, hey, read this, especially for the full-time working ladies on
Yeah.
here.
Sure. My favorite personal development book of all time probably is The Slight Edge. And that's not even very specific to like business to business sales or anything, but I think just in general in life, and that's where the power of consistency comes in and how that pays off. Really love that book. It helps shift my mindset a little bit, a lot. I mean, also the compound effect. These are like 2 of my basics that I recommend all my new coaches. Right now, I'm actually reading Start With Why by Simon Sinek. I really, really love it. It's a great one. What have I read most recently? I also just read David Atkins. He's another coach in our network. His book, The Leveled Up Life, which so good. If you've never heard David speak, like he's a really phenomenal storyteller and it's powerful stuff. Couldn't recommend that enough. I'm gonna look at my shelf too. I mean, what else do we have here? Oh, Atomic Habits I loved. What else is my favorite? High Performance Habits. Anything by John Maxwell. I love personal development. I really tried to read at least 10 pages a day, but I do listen to podcasts. I love Micah Folsom's podcast. I love Melanie Mitro's Women Empowering Women podcast, Trent Shelton. I'm like a personal development junkie.
No, like you said, like PD and inviting, like do those things, everything else.
Yeah, don't worry about the pretty graphics, guys. Like, I know it's hard. Like, sometimes you're like, I really want it to look pretty. Like, no one cares, right? Like, that's something you do later. Like, if you really want to build this business, stick to the basics. You just need to invite, and then eventually you can hire a virtual assistant if that's what you want to do to make pretty graphics. But that doesn't mean you have like a amazing, successful business just because you have all this marketing material that looks perfect. Like, don't get hung up on those things. I can't stress that enough.
Awesome. Well, if no one else has any other questions, we definitely, I know it's 10 your time, East Coast time, and you have your 5 a.m. I love the idea of like doing pre-recorded power hours, because sometimes the early morning power hours, but I always feel like, no one's quite awake yet. So just like being like, hey, let's just do it on Beachbody or Champions page or whatever. Like that's
and if you ever have East Coast girls that want to join us, I have a couple Midwest girls that it's 4 o'clock is too early for them, which I don't blame them. If we can always pair up different people. Like, I think it's just nice to not be alone to do it. And it keeps you focused, right? Instead of just scrolling Instagram. Like, I don't know, my brain just works better in the morning. I just get way more done than if I were to do it in the middle of the day. But thank you again for having me. I really appreciate it. This was great.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Jessica. And you guys take something away from this call, implement it, and yeah, let's make it a good almost last week of August. So, all right. See you guys.
Have a good day, everybody. Night.